Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. India's captain Virat Kohli is experiencing a dip in form. The ICC Men's Cricketer of the Decade 2011 to 2020 has gone 51 innings across all formats without a century. Very much unlike him, the 32-year-old last notched a century way back in 2019 against Bangladesh in a day-night test match. Kohli's dip in form has seen him being overtaken by his countryman Rohit Sharma in the latest release of the ICC Test batting rankings. Joe Root, the new #1, taking over from Kane Williamson. There is Rohit Sharma moving to 5 and displacing Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli now dropping to 6. In fact, Kohli now sits, as we said, 6th in the batting standings by the ICC, headed there by Joe Root. Root claiming the #1 spot after a 6-year break. His insatiable appetite for run scoring in the ongoing test series between England and India has seen him score 3 centuries at a tally of 507 runs, an average of 126.75. Now, the former Indian batsman, Vangipurapu Venkatasai Laxman, aka VVS Laxman, says that his dip in form is because he keeps repeating the same mistakes of playing outside the off stump. Here's what VVS Laxman says. Kohli is repeating his mistake of playing the line outside off stump away from his body, and he will need to work on that. Virat Kohli has not shown the patience that England bowlers have shown against him. He has not got out defending a lot of times. He has gone towards the ball in all of his dismissals. If you see his dismissals from 2014, he did not get out playing the drive as many times as he got out defending. I feel he is playing the 6th or 7th stump delivery, which is not required to be played, certainly not in Test cricket. He needs to check his position when the ball gets released. Now, the ongoing series between England and India is locked at the moment at 1-1, entering the 4th test at the Oval on Thursday. And the ICC World Test Championship points are at stake here. They're on the line, and India will need their captain to start clicking. So we've spoken about how strong the Indian team is overall, and they have so many match winners, but their feeble performance in the last test match with their captain Virat Kohli not scoring as prolifically as he is accustomed to. He's now under the microscope, Marat.
And rightfully so, Lance. It's the first time in 5 years that Virat Kohli is not in the top 5. And when we think about Virat Kohli, we know what he's capable of. Basically, the numbers before spoke for itself. So it's only fitting that people will compare his performances before when they considered him the best batsman of all time in Test cricket, because those were discussions that we would be having. And then to see somebody of that caliber drop, not even in the top 5, he's not there at all. He's actually in 6th position. It begs the question, what's really going wrong? And you see a lot of the cricket analysts trying to understand which shot is causing his dismissal. You know, is it, I heard the discussion, whether it's his mental state, maybe he doesn't have the confidence that he has before. You know, they're trying to figure out what's going wrong. I think we can sit here as much as we want and try to work this out. It's really up to Virat Kohli to figure out what's affecting his game in such a manner that he's now out of the top 5.
Yeah, and the fact is that although he isn't failing miserably, because he isn't, if you look at the test match scores that he's had all summer, 44, 13, 0, 42, 20, 7 and 55. So he's got some start. So it's not that he's failing miserably, but these stats at the moment, if we look at them from Virat Kohli, they don't resemble his overall performances that he would have delivered.
Look at 2020.
Yeah. 2020, 6 innings, 116 runs. 2021, 13 innings, 353 runs. That's in Test cricket. In ODIs, 9 innings, 431 runs. 3 innings, 129 runs. And these are stats for Test and ODIs. And you see there no hundreds during this period, which is not like him. So he may score 44, he may score 50, as we've seen him do a couple of times so far this summer in England, but those are not Virat Kohli's stats. Virat Kohli is a man that scores hundreds. He scores hundreds regularly, and you just wonder, as the team leader for India at the moment, the fact that he is struggling is sort of, you know, creeping into the Indian feeling and the fabric of their game, because We have spoken about how talented this team is, and even if Kohli doesn't perform, you expect that there are other batsmen in the India setup who are good enough to come to the fore if Kohli fails.
Definitely. And if it's one thing we know for sure, is that Indians are very passionate about cricket. And the moment you don't live up to the standards that they expect from you, it becomes a massive problem, Lance. And that's the reason we're having this discussion right now. Of course, Virat Kohli form in the past couple of years. And many people would say, okay, but his method and his technique hasn't really changed, because actually looked at, how he batted before when he was doing well compared to the stance that he takes now. And it's very, very similar. So I get the sense that it's a lot more than just the method, the approach that he's taking. And I want to start to think that it's something that's happening behind the scenes, if I'm to go so far, because as I said, I looked at videos when he was doing his best and, getting these centuries for India. And then I compared it to now, which, he's going through that particular rough patch. And it just doesn't look too good. It doesn't look good. And don't get me wrong, I understand that all batsmen, they go through phases. Yes. But this phase has been going on for a bit too long, especially for a man of his caliber.
Yeah, something behind the scenes, Mariah?
No. When I say that, I mean it's not the cricket, it's not the technique. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. But
I hope you're not suggesting that because he got married a couple of years ago.
No.
He's now beginning to struggle.
No, Lance, that's you just being cheeky. No.
I just wanted, because you said something behind the scenes.
No, what I'm trying to say is it's more than just the technique and the application. Lance is being so.
Well, the fact is, I think VVS Laxman has a point, because if you're a batsman that is like Kohli, you're accustomed to scoring a lot of runs, and VVS Laxman is suggesting that he is playing a lot of deliveries at 6th and 7th stumps, which means that it's way outside his off stump. You would think that if he is failing and he's not getting the big scores that he would normally get, or he's accustomed to getting, that he would curb that desire, that instinct to go for these shots outside his off stump, at least until he starts scoring some runs, because that is part of the difficulty that will face an international batsman, because bowlers are going to work you out. And you know that he has had some heated moments so far with the Englishmen on this current tour. And sometimes that gets into your brain as well. You want to prove to them that you can dominate them. So maybe he just needs to take a step back and be a little bit more measured in how he approaches his innings. Because, as I said, if he is really getting out a lot with balls, playing shots outside of his off stump, and I'm not saying just outside his off stump, way outside his off stump, then he needs to have the discipline, to execute the discipline, to just take those shots out of his arsenal for the time being, until he starts scoring runs again and gets his confidence back. Because even though we're talking about Virat Kohli, his confidence must be shaken. His confidence must be shaken, not only by his lack of prolific scoring, but the defeat. England beat them
and
very, very badly.
In which, beat
them very, very badly. And as team leader, he has to lift himself and lift his team.
Definitely. So we'll be looking forward to that as we get into the third test. We go to break, Lance. We'll be back.